Hi there, everybody. This is David, and I've got some great news for y'all, because, the best game that you have never heard of, more than likely, just got a sequel, and it's coming out here in the West in May. And today, I do want to tell you all about the first game and the sequel, and, tell you why it's so good, and why it flew under the radar, and all that kind of good stuff. And I definitely do think that's what the sub is. You come and you join a party, and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your brand new hype. It helps me out a ton. So now let's go on into this great game that no one's ever played, even though it's, spectacular. So what am I talking about? I am talking about Monochrome, Mobius, Rights and Wrongs Forgotten, and it got a sequel, and oh my gosh, I cannot wait. This thing is just absolute quality. I played through this, I reviewed it, I went through it with a fine-tooth comb. I could not get enough of this game. Everything about it is dripping with love and intelligence. There were no dumb decisions that went into this game. Nobody said hey, let's throw in some janky ass system and just kind of see how it works. This game was actually made by people who know the genre and they love the genre, and they made something absolutely just spectacular. It's part of the Utawarerumono series, which is a visual novel series, but this game, not a visual novel. It's also not some kind of half visual novel, half strategy RPG. It's not some sort of dungeon crawler with a hub town, or some sort of lazy thing with a board game, and it's not boring. This thing is the real deal. It is a true blue RPG with huge environments. We're talking massive, Xenoblade quality environments. Tons of exploration, tons of enemies on screen, and they're just going around doing their own thing, kind of in Xenoblade. They might just be playing with one another or making noises and stuff. It's kind of a sight to behold, really. Also, there's this robust leveling system with skill points, and you can put your points into whatever stat you want to, and then whenever a stat reaches a certain threshold, you'll gain a skill or an ability or something like that. There's a weapon upgrade and crafting system, tons of accessories and equipments, 4 party members, and a turn-based combat system using Grandia-style battles. Yeah, they did everything right here. There's tons of treasures to be found. This is not some empty open world. It's not an open world, really, actually. It's just massive, huge environments. There's side quests and all sorts of secret areas. It is amazing. And as you're going around exploring these areas and everything, and you see these monsters, they are on-screen encounters, but these monsters, they don't chase you all over the place. It's not oh my god, I'm gonna get into a billion encounters. You can go through these areas and not get into a single encounter if you don't want to. You can actually, the enemies are kind of doing their own thing. If you want to encounter them, you can. Some will chase you, some will leave you alone, and if they do chase you, you can just kind of run away. It's really simple. You don't have to worry about that. They're kind of dumb, too. They're just kind of living their own lives. It makes the world feel a lot more natural, I guess, because it was kind of chilling around and everything. Whenever you do get into combat, and again, it is an on-screen combat system, and you can do a combat advantage by hitting with your sword in the field if you want to, it has this Grandia system. So first of all, it is turn-based. So, everybody gets their turn based upon the speed order, and there's 3 rings. There is an outer, larger ring, a middle ring, and then an inner ring, which is much smaller. And as you hit an enemy, you can push them back onto their ring. But if you hit an enemy enough, they'll get stunned, and then if you hit them again while they're stunned, you will move into a smaller ring. Therefore, your turn will come around faster, and the enemy will move into an outer ring, therefore their turn will come around slower. Also, there's an overdrive or a limit break system, which essentially you can use to push yourself into a smaller inner ring so that you can get your turns a lot faster. It's a really fun, involved, strategic, good combat system. Also, like I said, you can attack these enemies on field, but if you're a higher level than the enemy, guess what? It's an earthbound combat system. You can kill them immediately, and you get 100% of the experience and the gold and the item drops and everything else. The world and the story, it's super lovingly crafted. It reminds me of the Gagharf trilogy. Now, I never played any of the visual novel Utawarerumono games because, visual novel. But this I have played, and I can follow along with it perfectly fine. Although there is a lot of I don't know, Japanese terminology, or just maybe just terminology in this world that I would understand a little bit more if I did play the Utawarerumono series or the games beforehand, but there's also an encyclopedia in-game that you can reference for all these terms that they use and everything. So anyway, like I said, the world is kind of split in two. It reminds me of the Gagharf trilogy. There's like this massive chasm cutting the land in two that nobody really knows about. And you live in this small town in Yamato, and it's ruled by the Mikado, and across this massive chasm is the land of Arva-Shulan, which is like Forbidden Land, and it was sealed off because they said it was kind of uninhabitable and too wild for the civilized citizens of Yamato. So the game kind of kicks off, no spoilers here or anything, this is like the very beginning of the game. It kicks off, there's this mysterious masked man, he's being attacked by soldiers, and he tells this girl to jump into a portal and escape and find this kid named Oster. So as luck would have it, Oster is your hero, and he runs into the girl as she's like, stealing tomatoes off of a vine. She's like really hungry, she's, trying to find this guy and everything. So after this huge misunderstanding, you find out within the first 10-15 minutes, again, not really spoiling anything here, that both Oster and the girl Shunya are the children of this mysterious masked man. That's their father, and he's trapped over in Arva-Shulan, so you need to, find a way to get there. And Oster himself doesn't really believe Shunya, because he's like, I thought my father was dead, I haven't seen him in a whole lot of years, this time has passed, he never told me about this mysterious older sister, is she lying, what is going on, I've never heard of this land, Arva-Shulan, so I need to find this, I need to figure out what is going on, so it's a big old mystery. So, you go off and you try to find it, and again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the characters are really well written, everybody's really lovable, although Shunya is kind of a moron, but yeah, it's just a very, very spectacular game. The combat system is great, everything is just oozing quality, and I cannot wait for the sequel to come out. We've known that it's coming out in Japan. We did not know that it was coming out in English until now, and so far it is announced just for the PC via Steam. However, Japan is getting a PlayStation 5 version and a Switch 2 version, so hopefully we do get that. So let me just go ahead and read you the story synopsis of what the sequel is all about. It says, the Utawarerumono legend reaches a new climax in the sprawling JRPG. Yeah, this is actually the end. This is the final entry in the Utawarerumono series. The whole thing. This is going to cap off the entire thing, the visual novels, everything. It says, as the shadow falls over Yamato once more, Oster and friends set on a new adventure, and somewhere amid white mists, a long slumber approaches its end. Long, long ago in the distant past, or was it the far future? The mighty empire of Yamato exists at peace under the rule of its god incarnate, Mikado. So, Oster, Mikazuki, Munukucha, and Shunya have been hailed as heroes since they repelled an invasion of the long-lost Arva-Shulan. Yet once more, a shadow falls over the nation. So this is a direct sequel to this game. So if you haven't played this game, you might want to play it before this one does come out. Also, in Japan, a dual pack is coming out that includes this game as well as the sequel. It's coming out for the Switch 2. They did not announce that here in America, so yeah, just saying. Anyway, a shadow falls over the nation. Monsters rise in every quarter of the land, and disconnected incidents spiral towards one conclusion while old comrades triangulate response. As their journey begins anew, they have no way of knowing. What awaits them is sung about only in legends. Somewhere, white mists still cloud a cradle, but a long light slumber is about to end. So this game, it's coming out on May the 28th, just a couple of days after my 44th birthday. Oh my god, I'm so old. 44 frickin' years old, I can't even stand it. So this will be a nice late birthday present for me. I am so looking forward to this game. Y'all have no idea. This Monochrome Mobius, Rights and Wrongs Forgotten, was, I swear to god, one of the best games I have ever played. Super duper duper hidden gem. Highly recommend it. Completely slept on, and I really think that y'all should play it. If you love JRPGs, if you love exploration, turn-based combat, Grandia, just storytelling, if you like any of that, you will love this game, y'all. I'm telling you, you will love it. So anyway, I want to hear if you've played the game, if you've played the Utawarerumono series, if you know anything about this, let me know in the comments and let me know what you're thinking about it. And as always, have a good day.